Okay. And we are live. Howdy, howdy, everybody. This one might be a little bit shorter just because we got to go do laundry today. And as soon as David gets up and about and gets ready for his doctor stuff, we're basically going to do a little laundry run. I'll be doing the laundry at the laundromat. He'll help me load it in, and he'll go do his med stuff at the doctor's office and come back to pick me and the laundry up. Hopefully it'll work out real good. But before that, all the baby's been taken care of, so we got us a little bit of time. I played with the graphics cards. I tweaked the software and the graphics stuff a little bit, so let's see if this runs a bit smoother. Also, I disconnected some of the repetitive features now that I got it set up. Disconnecting the mouse should cause less feedback between it and the remote. Like I said, y'all, I'm just letting y'all see, trying to do better at working. As soon as I can figure out how to get chat on screen without sacrificing everything else, we'll be doing that. But we'll work on that together. But now, let's get to building the village. Today we learned about the format of screenplays and why they look the way they do. We talked about the essential building blocks of the film story. And maybe we'll disconnect the weird shield since it might be doing some of the issue causing too. There we go. Crash Course Film Production is produced in association with PBS Digital Studios. You can head over to their channel and check out a playlist of their latest shows, like Home and Itty, It's Okay to Be Smart, and Physics Girl. This episode of Crash Course is filmed in the Dr. Cheryl C. Kinney Crash Course studio with the help of all these nice people. And our amazing graphics team is Thought Cafe. Okay. Looks like we're already back. Yep, we're back at camp already. With this telegraph, a device invented way back in the mid-1800s, I can communicate with you. Still gotta get the precious metals, that's right. I can update you on stock prices, or the movements of enemy troops, or who's going to the next week on RuPaul's Drag Race. Let's see what I can get. Oh, Hank is so young in this one. I kind of want to put it up on screen, but I kind of think if I did that, the screen would get too crowded. So I just still run it out my cell phone. Which is weird that I can't run chat that way. Let's ditch the telegraph and leverage some basic scientific discoveries about sound, light, and electricity made during the 19th century. The telephone, invented in the 1860s and 70s, took personal communication to the next level. Both Scottish-Canadian inventor Alexander Graham Bell and American engineer Elisha Gray created working telephone systems in 1876, and the priority dispute we really gotta get us some precious metals. The telephone didn't lend itself to popular entertainment. It was a one-on-one technology, not a way of communicating to the masses. So it wasn't until the invention of commercial sound recorders and motion picture cameras in the late 1800s that you could consume the same media as other people around the globe. And for those devices, we need to head back to the Menlo Park laboratory of Thomas Edison, who was, by the way, also working on the telephone. Edison developed the phonograph, which literally means sound directing, in 1877, shortly before the light bulb and electrical power system that made him famous. Maybe Edison was interested in recording, amplifying, and playing back sound because he was hard of hearing. He might have imagined alternative strategies for recording that hearing people would have thought of. Edison's team invented a recording cylinder which offered good sound quality. It worked by note to raiders from Indus. We are never circuit. Same concept of joints. They're actually looking nicer. A flat disc that stores audio information easily by using the ridges to encode sound waves. Either way, phonographs are pretty simple and durable and still in use. All of the long play collecting vinyl heads I don't think I can upgrade anything yet. Which is depressing. Cylinders were originally used mostly for office dictation by big companies and had little impact on the consumer market. In fact, Edison invented a lot of stuff that consumers would either ignore or outright despise. Probably the funniest example of an Edison I really need to get their shop built. I just need to get 20 more precious metals, which I'm guessing I get through raiding intelligence. calls his little monsters. And Edison's magnetic
Failing
force
my
separator,
village.
which was basically a big
We're
electromagnet
getting
that
bigger, but I'm failing the village because I'm not
straight
getting enough rare materials.
up bankrupted him. That said, there was
I need to
actually
go
a
on a few
brilliant
raids just
application
for
of
rare
science
materials.
magnetics, just too far ahead of its time to work efficiently in practice. Edison had better luck post-doll, post-ore separator with moving pictures. As with his other inventions, he wasn't the first inventor, just the one who made a practical
Cigarettes
system.
letter.
Today,
Hello.
credit French artist Louis Le Prince with the first portable movie camera in 1888.
Sorry about that. I hope this room fits your needs. As we grow our reputation in this land and make new friends and allies, it will be important to keep constant communication with them. Radville will drop any letter you receive into this box. Have a look from time to time. Cigarettes.
As with the light bulb, Edison didn't really invent it himself, but relied on hiring creative experts. Still, he was the self-proclaimed Napoleon of
Ravensthorpe qualifies as a colony now. I think no longer a ragtag assemblance of tents and muddy feet. We're now a point of local interest attracting trade and new settlers. A few new possibilities have opened to us. Okay, this is the same. Okay. We really gotta go get precious metals.
Edison also created the prototype for the kinetoscope, the first device for individual movie viewing in 1891. He debuted his device in Brooklyn in 1893, and in 1895, Edison created the kinetophone.
Things are still rolling well on here.
Edison's early movies were not exactly Oscar-worthy, although perhaps YouTube-worthy. They were only 1 minute long, and they often lacked elements we associate with cinema, like plot. One of his early movies, for example, simply depicted 3 of his blacksmiths doing some smithing. Other memorable Edison productions included The Kiss, Fred Ott's Sneeze, Annie Oakley shooting glass balls, Frankenstein, and everyone's favorite, Professor Welton's boxing cats.
Nothing's really changed there. So.
Movie studio, The Black Mariah, which was created at Edison's bigger, newer lab in West Orange.
I think I'm gonna head up the river and possibly see if we can take out that village that kicked our ass so many times. Not doing that again.
Took off in saloons, and to Edison, this was enough. Movies didn't need to be long or complex. They'd never make any money that way. And besides, people had short attention spans. Other cinematic entrepreneurs had different ideas. Unfortunately for them, Edison was an enormous patent troll. He had the patent on the camera, so he kept suing other movie makers on the East Coast, which is one reason why they kept moving to Los Angeles, the eventual epicenter of the movie industry. The other reasons were the better natural lighting, weather, and the larger number of very good yoga studios /juicer. Nixon left Edison Studios to found Biograph Pictures.
Yeah, if we attack them, they're gonna hit us back. But we can also Isle of what now? Isle Monastery. Alright, let's raid the church. We'll fast travel here, call my people as soon as I get over to the church and get it thoroughly busted open. Won't light nothing on fire till the men get there, and we'll burn down every roof except for the valuable ones.
Radio waves have to travel long distances without losing fidelity or accuracy, whereas movies were just parted around using physical bills of film. Scottish physicist
that's my target.
predicted the existence of radio waves back in the 1860s. But German physicist Heinrich Hertz discovered in 1885 that a wire carrying an electric current will radiate or give off electromagnetic waves when it's swung back and forth.
This bit's gonna be the jump to get that boat across to here.
Show in an experiment how to make and detect electromagnetic waves.
Maybe set fire to their little dock area here. Start attracting guards out. But it looks like that building will burn. Raid the church. That building will burn after we raid it.
First developed a working system. At home in Bologna,
I think I got a plan for this.
Signals. Soon after, Marconi traveled to Britain to commercialize his system. By 1899, he sent the first wireless telegraph signal channel.
Or if
And
we
by
wanted to,
1901,
well,
he was
no,
able to
because
send
there's
a
not really a way
single
to
letter,
avoid the
S,
slaughter, is there?
across the Atlantic Ocean from England to Newfoundland, Canada.
I was going to say, if I wanted to avoid the slaughter, bring women in quietly from the back gate here and raid from the church in. But I don't think that's an option. I don't think we get to quiet raid. So in lieu of quiet raiding, we'll just have to dive in.
First radio network in 1922. Radio broadcasts soared in popularity and became profitable.
See, I was hoping to stop this problem with the fixing of the graphics. But it's not as bad as it was, right? We're not getting as much lag.
So this invention and the automobile connected cities to rural areas and changed how people consumed music and sports. Radio also became a tool of political propaganda and an indispensable way of communicating important news. The greatest example of this occurred on October 30th, 1938, when Orson Welles directed an adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel The War of the Worlds, in which terrifying Martians invade Earth and subdue humanity. Some people didn't understand that this was a drama. Maybe they flipped on midway through and mistook the realistic radio announcements for actual news, causing a panic. As radio was taking off, television was invented and built on the infrastructure that was supporting it. And like radio, TV would take a long time to move from prototypes to commercial networks. Numerous people contributed to
Yeah, I feel like we already rated this one. So if we have, should be enough.
Images of only 30 lines at a time, or pretty low resolution. Barrett demonstrated these first televised images in 1924 and moving ones in 1926. In 1928, he transmitted an image of a human face across the Atlantic Ocean. A year later, the BBC began broadcasting Barrett's TV system. He even worked on color TV before 1930, a tech that wouldn't become standard until the 1950s. But in the end, the BBC switched to electronic rather than mechanical TV, adopting a system by Marconi's company in 1936. Still, TV was expensive.
See at least one guard on the wall.
World War II caused an intervening distraction, so television didn't take off as an industry until the 1940s.
Got rations out in the books still.
Satellite for global broadcast was launched in 1962, and then on July 20th, 1969, people all over the world watched as a human set foot on the moon. We'll get to space soon. Think of all of the communications technologies required to enable almost everyone alive to watch the same Super Bowl, World Cup, or Eurovision final. These technologies emerged from intensive competitive corporate research programs. Corporate invention and Menlo Park set the stage for later R&D hubs at Standard Oil, General Electric, DuPont, Bell Labs, IBM Labs, and Google X. These places sought to and seek to turn basic scientific discoveries about electromagnetism into patents and profits. Next time, we're probing our own gray matter. It's the birth of psychology and psychiatry. Crash Course History of Science is filmed in the Dr. Cheryl studio in Missoula, Montana, and it's made with the help of all these nice people and their animation team in the Star Cafe. Crash Course is a Complexly production. If you want to keep imagining the world complexly with us, you can check out some of our other channels like Healthcare Triage, Art Assignment, and The Financial Diet.
Well, the broken ass game mechanics is mine.
Support the series at Patreon, a crowdfunding platform that allows you to support the content you love. Thank you to all of our patrons for making Crash Course possible with their continuous support.
Where's the button? No, you don't need eyes. You need a horn, I guess. Where's the... Oh, I gotta go all the way down here to start the raid. Alright.
Thanks to Curiosity Stream for supporting Crash Course. Hello. As you might have noticed, I'm not Craig or Lily. My name's Michael Aranda, and I'll be your host for the last third of Crash Course.
Is it that good flavor?
Let me ask you a question. What's your favorite film? Maybe there's a movie that makes you want to get fit and become a star.
Try that again. There we go. Because I need help picking away at these shield asses.
All these things can affect how you feel about a movie or whether you give it a thumbs up on Netflix, because that's a thing now. But they can also affect how it fits into cinema history and impacts the world around them. We'll think critically about a lot of different movies, starting with an American classic that many people call the greatest film ever made. It came from ambition and some unusual circumstances with Orson Welles at the helm. And even though it's been a long time
All I
since
could
its
see
release
was
in
Viking
1941,
ass.
the film's technical cleverness and story still resonate with audiences today. I am talking, of course, about Citizen Kane.
I say the Archer's gonna give us hell because y'all wouldn't let me get a clean shot. There we go.
Calling Citizen
Yeah.
Kane one of the best films of all
I hope I
time.
don't die making that noise. Hey, my
To be
friend.
honest, the idea of ranking movies and making a top 10 list may be fun, but it's not what film criticism is really about. It's about
Till what?
thinking deeply about how the movie works, both to us as an audience member and within history and society. It's about understanding, deconstructing, feeling, and learning. So, is Citizen Kane the greatest movie ever made? Well, we can't answer that because that's not the question we should be asking. But there's clearly something about it.
Man, there's got to be a shield bash technique.
Is its origin story. Orson Welles was hoisted into the spotlight at the ripe young age of 23. He was performing with the Mercury Theater Company, a troupe that he helped create. In 1938, Welles directed and narrated the radio drama The War of the Worlds, and supposedly struck fear into some listeners who thought that an actual alien invasion was happening. We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences.
Teamwork.
But he also
It kind of looks like I just pulled him into her ex. Either way, teamwork. Let's go get those chests.
Complete creative control, which was like really unusual at the time. So he did what any plucky artist in his mid-20s would do. He packed up his stuff and invited his buddies from the Mercury Theater Company to come with him to Hollywood. Now, I don't want to sell them short. This was a group of very good actors, and despite his lack of experience with the movie industry, Welles leapt into this project with a lot of ambition, performing experience, and fresh ideas. He wanted to be involved in as many aspects of the film as possible. Directing and starring as the film's eponymous Charles Foster Kane. Welles filled out his production team with other talented men from Hollywood who were itching to experiment with their craft. People like Greg Tolan, the cameraman who contributed a lot to the film's look and technical innovation. And Welles is credited as co-writer with Herman J. Mankiewicz, a journalist who hopped over into the world of filmmaking and was an experienced screenwriter by the time he worked on this project. Citizen Kane tells the life story of a wealthy newspaper magnate. The first time we meet Kane, he's on his deathbed in a massive mansion called Xanadu, dramatically murmuring his last word. The story is told in flashbacks through interviews with people Kane once knew, like his friend and fellow reporter Jedediah Leland, his business manager Mr. Bernstein, and his second wife Susan Alexander Kane. In the last sequence of shots, we find out that Rosebud is referencing the sled he had as a kid before he was separated from his family and sent to boarding school with the new guardian. So, Citizen Kane could be a story about, well, a lot of things. A loss of childhood, human flaws, memory, or the complications of power and wealth. Film criticism is pretty subjective. But Citizen Kane is also a story that
I'm starting to think my ravers don't know how to take advantage of an opening.
While Welles insisted the film wasn't meant to be a personal attack on hers, all of the parallels and the fact that Mankiewicz was a former friend of hers
Alright,
made it take the film
let's
real personal.
back on track to getting those movies.
Your grudges become public.
Hey, that's how you do it.
Orson Welles planned on debuting Citizen Kane at the Radio City Music Hall, like other big arcade movies, but the venue turned it down. Eventually, the film's release was delayed until May 1st, 1941, in New York. And
Don't just stroll over. Come on, hurry up. Be about it.
On May 2nd, in the New York Daily News, called Citizen Kane one of the most interesting and technically
Oh.
that has ever come out of a Hollywood studio. The controversy did mess with the film's commercial success, though. It didn't gain much public traction until it was released again.
This is why I try to kill them all before I bring in the raiders.
It was an ambitious project headed by a maverick filmmaker and had a lot of drama around its release. We humans do love ourselves some drama. But the content of the film speaks for itself.
Frustrating.
The creators of Citizen Kane had the freedom to
While I wait to see what's about to happen, let's check back in on chat.
The way film was being used as a storytelling medium, which
Can I get crew with better brains? Can I get crew that's ready to actually rave and pillage, and when they have an opening to a guard's back, they don't just stare at it? I said the whole reason I brought in the ravers was because I thought, you know, oh, these will help me with the shields. No, they'll get in the goddamn way with the shield people. So we're gonna do this a different way. Going. I love you. All the love.
It's a neat visual effect, but it also punctuates the story with a little metaphor. You're seeing this man physically shrink into his environment as he's losing control over his business and life. And camera movements are combined with other practical effects effects really immerse you in the story. Take the scene where Kane is a kid playing in the snow where his parents are inside a cabin and talking about sending him away. The camera pulls back through a window and eventually stops on the other side of the dining table. But from the final framing, you can see that the table would have been in the way of the movement. The trick is in the set. It's actually a mechanical table that splits and comes back together. So the mise-en-scène is never broken, and the scene can keep playing out. You, the viewer, are none the wiser, because you're wrapped up in the incredible illusion of the reality the film is constructing. Other practical tricks are used in the Enquirer office, where Kane's newspaper staff works. These scenes were unusual for movies at the time because there are visible ceilings. Now, this doesn't sound that weird, because, normal office buildings have ceilings.
Actually, yeah, with that many. Okay, you can't call me a coward when it's 3-on-1.
They had to keep ceilings out of frame. In this case, the lights and microphones are still up there, just hidden right above the ceilings, which are made of muslin sheets. They also cut out chunks of the floor to make room for the camera, so they could get dramatic low-angle shots, making the actors look larger than life. The trick to Citizen Kane is that all these effects, which are everywhere, don't feel like effects in the same way a CGI dragon does. They subtly
There we go.
For instance, Wells often blends matte drawings with physical sets to make everything seem more immersive despite a limited budget. This is how they create the beginning of the film, leading us toward the window of Xanadu in Kane's deathbed. Plus, it's how they make the inside of Xanadu.
That's what I'm not liking is why is it crashing out? It feels I'm not giving it that many tasks to do.
Two images are seen separately and stitch them into one. Effects also let them add visual twists to the story in ways Wells couldn't with live theater. Like when Susan Alexander is performing in the opera, we crane up from the stage.
No, we'll figure it out over time. Till then.
The transition is precise and deliberate, and nowhere near as easy as dropping a fade into a digital video editor today. Now, maybe you noticed some of these technical tricks, but they're done well and not obvious unless you're paying close attention. And that's one of the coolest things about good filmmaking. But a lot of the time, what makes our favorite movies so memorable is just a well-told story. And if you think about it, Citizen Kane doesn't really have a mind-blowing plot. It's a straightforward tale about a powerful, wealthy newspaper tycoon and his shortcomings. And the dialogue is all pretty crisp and generic. You get a newsreel summary of Kane's life at the beginning, but it's mostly told through flashbacks, and they're part of what makes the film feel so true to life. And even though it's easy to link Charles Foster Kane with William Randolph Hearst, this archetype of a driven, powerful jerk who just wants people to love him is pretty relatable to a lot of us, even Wells himself. So you might see things you like and hate about yourself in Kane, or Susan Alexander's naive optimism, or Jedediah Leland and his disillusionment with a friend. Honestly, the fact that it's his childhood sled isn't the most profound or surprising twist out there. It's not like there are hidden identities or heists yet. But you have to admit, the film goes all in on the idea of lost childhood. Kane drowns his feelings in material objects and tries to live vicariously through Susan Alexander's youth, telling her, we are going to be a great opera star. Or maybe you agree with the film critic Colleen Kael, the sled is just kind of gimmicky. But critics, including her, don't call Citizen Kane great because it makes you realize profound things about life, the universe, and everything. Every scene isn't a masterpiece, but the film holds up over time, and people seem to get a lot out of it, historically, technically, or narratively. And, like I mentioned before, the whole idea of the best film of all time is ultimately kind of silly. It's more about understanding why and how we make movies that mean so much to us or to the world. And that is pretty beautiful in itself. Next time, we'll take a hard left turn into an action-adventure horror film that's almost as Casablanca. James Cameron's Aliens. And if you want to watch along with us, there's a full list of movies in the description. Crash Course Film Criticism is supported by CuriosityStream, where you can stream documentary films and programs about science, nature, and history, including exclusive originals. For example, check out the Emmy-winning series Stephen Hawking's Favorite Places, where Hawking takes you on a journey through the stars and around our planet to talk about his favorite places to go. Everything from Saturn to Santa Barbara. Plus, he shares his own stories of curiosity and perseverance. It's really cool. I mean, it's Stephen Hawking.
Okay, that felt like shit. Why? I fucking hate you guys.
Crash Course Film Criticism is produced in association with PBS Digital Studios. You can head over to their channel to check out a playlist of their latest shows like Physics Girl, Art Assignment, and PBS Space. This episode of Crash Course was filmed in the Dr. Cheryl C. McKinney Crash Course studio with the help of these nice people, and our amazing graphics team is Thought Cafe.
Like I said, it's lag that kills me sometimes.
Seem daunting. After you have a screenplay and you've done your pre-production, you still have to film the thing. And you're going to need help. Orson Welles once said, a writer needs a pen, an artist needs a brush, the filmmaker needs an arm. But he also co-wrote, produced, directed, and starred in Citizen Kane. So which is it? Do you need hundreds of people or a couple disciplined artists doing everything? Well, it depends on your movie. Every successful film production has the same kind of jobs, but the scale can vary a lot. Every story has different needs. And maybe the best place to start sizing up the needs of your project is in the inner workings of the film set where the actual filming takes place. And then, of course, there are the people. The crew that work on and off the set during principal photography when most of the movie is being filmed. I'm Lily Gladstone, and this is Crash Course Film Production. Some people refer to different positions in a film crew as above the line or below the line. This idea is a holdover from the studio days when budgets on paper had a literal line between different jobs. The people above the line, like writers, directors, producers, and certain actors, negotiated payment before shooting began, and those below the line were paid a rate for every day they worked. If we're sticking with the Orson Welles analogy, everyone below the line is the filmmaker's army. The general of that army is the unit production manager, or UPM. Usually, the director picks key creative roles to support the vision of the film, like production designer and cinematographer. But the UPM is responsible for hiring everybody else and managing all the moving parts of the production. They oversee pre-production, from picking locations and planning out the shooting schedule, and sometimes they're on set when the scene is being filmed, but not always. They might be checking in with the art department to make sure sets are ready for the next day's shoot, or visiting the production office to work with someone like the production accountant to make sure everyone gets paid. The UPM is also the point of contact for any local authorities and companies the production is working with. Now, the person running a film set is the head of the production department, the first assistant director, or first AD. They work with the director to schedule the details of every day's shoot and communicate what every department needs to do. Plus, they're responsible for keeping everyone safe. If you've ever visited a film set and saw someone you thought was the director, it was probably the first AD. They're the ones calling the roll to tell people to do specific things at specific moments, shouting things like roll.
I wonder how many times this is going to work. I mean, if nothing else, it's a very... Oh, there we go. Knew somebody would bum out the party. I feel like that should have been blocked. I wasn't trying to outrun you. I was trying to get the angle on you. Oh, run, little Padre, run. That must have sucked. I've done that a few times.
PAs are the lowest rung on this ladder, but they're still super important. There's a pretty good chance that everyone on the set has been a PA at some point. Their main job is anticipating needs and communicating between departments, like by making sure everyone hears all of the first AD's calls. So the production team is the glue that holds the film set and all of the departments together. And there are a bunch of departments. Let's start with the camera department. The person responsible for the look of the
Let me help you with your stick.
Or DP, also called the cinematographer. They work with the director to translate the script into a shot list, which is a plan for how to visually convey every single scene. The first AD uses the shot list to plan the day's schedule. On an independent film, the cinematographer might also be a camera operator, but usually the cinematographer directs the camera crew, which includes operators and camera assistants, or ACs. While ACs aren't actually framing shots and operating the camera, the first AC helps focus the camera, so they're sometimes known as the focus puller. ACs also maintain equipment and keep camera notes continuity. Cinematographers need to understand story, cameras, and lighting to pack a visual punch, so they work with the gaffer, also known as the chief lighting technician. They're the head of the electric department and design and implement the lighting of each scene. The gaffer's second in command is called best boy or best boy electric, no matter their gender. Both the titles gaffer and best boy have been around since at least the 1930s, but it's unclear how the names came to be head electrician. On smaller crews, the electric
I about to say, you might want to get out of the firing range, buddy. I'm trying not to shoot you.
Dozens of electricians and lots of equipment. And you can't talk about electric without talking about the brick department. These departments are close buddies and sometimes are called G&E. While electric oversees lighting and getting power to the set, brick oversees all of the rigging for lights. That includes all stands for lights as well as flags, silks, and nets, which are fabric used to control or block light. Brick also handles specialized rigging for other departments too, like cranes, dollies, and dolly track, which helps with specific camera movements. The key grip leads the team, and their number 2 is the best boy grip, who carries out the key grips plans for rigging. G&E is often the largest department on set during filming, but the smallest department is only one person, the script supervisor, who's in charge of, you guessed it,
Well, it was an accident. It was the same fat fryer kept jumping in the way of my shot earlier. I know it's not really much of an excuse, but I wasn't trying to shoot him. Trying to shoot him. Nah, that ain't gonna be a bad party. I think we should be ready to actually do the raid this time.
Whose job is to hear everything. They're usually just offset, monitoring sound in a slightly quieter place. They manage the boom operator, who's on set trying to get the microphone as close as possible to the actor's mouth without being shot. Now, all the departments we've talked about so far are involved in capturing the film, but there are a bunch of people that work both on and off set to create the world that's being captured. The art department, for instance, designs, builds, and transforms sets, finds and creates props, and dresses each location to match the director's vision for each scene. Their fearless leader is the production designer, who works with the director in pre-production to create the look of the world. Then the art director organizes
And again,
everyone
why
else
not?
and makes the
Let's
production
take a
designer's
few
plan
more.
real. Everything in the mise en scène is found or made by the art department. So the more complex a film is, the larger the team tends to be. Similarly, the wardrobe department is responsible for channeling the themes of the film, the time period, setting, and character traits into the clothing of each character in each scene. Even if it looks like someone doesn't have any costume changes, they probably have different versions of the same outfit, like a bloody shirt or ripped pants, depending on what happens in the film. The costume designer is responsible for pre-production planning, while everything on set and in the wardrobe trailer is overseen by the costume supervisor. Set costumers dress and undress actors before and after shooting, paying close attention to continuity between scenes. And to complement wardrobe, there's hair and makeup, or HMU, which tend to get lumped together as one department. Of all the crew, wardrobe and HMU spend the most one-on-one time with actors, play an important role in making them feel safe and confident while doing
I
the work.
forgot I could do this shit quietly.
Small cast might have one person who does all of the makeup and hairstyling, while larger casts might have an HMU artist for each lead actor. Most makeup artists can make people look really good, or bad, or rough, depending on what the scene calls for. And if a film needs a lot of specialized makeup, like scars for war or full-on monster faces, then you call a special effects makeup artist. They're the bridge between HMU and the special effects department, which is led by the special effects supervisor. Special effects is in charge of every on-set effect, from creating artificial snow or rain to orchestrating a car crash to an epic explosion. I've mentioned safety before, but it's worth repeating over and over again, especially when we're talking about special effects or stunts, which are cast and choreographed by the stunt coordinator.
Hey!
The first AD will repeat all general safety instructions on set. Then, either the special effects supervisor or stunt coordinator will talk through what should happen and what everyone should do.
Okay, now we should be
ready.
ready.
Will have at least one trained set medic, like an EMT, or a special team might be brought in if a potentially dangerous scene is being filmed. Now, we've talked about almost everyone you might find on set, but where the set is changes throughout a film, thanks to the locations department. In pre-production, Scout will search for places to film based on the script and practicality. Once the director and producers approve of the locations, the department keys will go on a tech scout to make sure they can do their work too. What we see on screen is actually just one small part of the location. The location manager and location systems plan where everything will go, from the set that will appear on camera to all the trailers and base camp. They're the first to arrive and the last to leave. The second people will arrive are usually the drivers of the transportation department, which is overseen by the transportation manager. They get all the large equipment and trailers to the set and shuttle cast and crew back and forth. Obviously, the more people you have, the bigger team you'll need. And speaking of big teams, the one job that should never be forgotten is actually two jobs, and it's feeding all these people. Catering companies are contracted by the UPM to cook 1 to 3 meals per day, and the craft service person is the crew member that manages the station with snacks and drinks on set. Both the person and the station can be affectionately called craft. During a difficult day of shooting, craft might be the only thing keeping you going. The power of a granola bar and a friendly face should never be underestimated. Like, ever. Seriously. Feed your cast and crew. And make sure you're paying attention to allergies and dietary restrictions. No one's doing that behind you. Scrolling a film set is demanding work, but it's work that attracts people who really love it. We could easily make a 90-minute video about all these talented people, but, scale. Today, we discussed scalability, how the needs of a film dictate the size of the film crew. We learned about the different departments and the jobs on set and how they interact. And next time, we'll start diving into these roles in a little more detail, starting with that piece of equipment at the center of every set, the camera. Crash Course Film Production is produced in association with PBS Digital Studios. You can head over to their channel and check out a playlist of the latest shows, like PBS Infinite Series.
Let's hit the wrong button as it is tradition, and then start the raid.
Crash Course Studio with the help of these nice people and our amazing graphics team and stock cast.
If you've been joining me from the beginning of our journey through the history of film, you might have noticed something. None of the films I've talked about so far look like the movies you see today. Yes, Ryan Gosling got very little play in the 1800s, but what I really mean is we haven't talked much about story, character, narrative. Like, you don't go to the Megaplex today, buy a bunch of popcorn, and sit down and watch movies of trains entering stations or horses running in slow motion. That's because there was a period in the history of film, a really important and kind of problematic one, when film evolved from a technical curiosity into a powerful visual storytelling machine.
And yes, y'all, when I don't have to go do like laundry and the like afterwards, I will actually start to do like the makeup and all that again. Oh, he's got a mace.
Movie theaters proliferated. Systems were created to develop film, shuttle movies from theater to theater, and publicize them to hungry audiences. As film's physical and economic input became more stable, so too did its visual language.
I'm glad that worked out. The guys with maces always mess with me.
In large part to the exhaustive work of D.W. Griffith, a failed actor turned filmmaker whose own legacy was as complicated and sprawling as one of his films. It's time to tackle D.W. Griffith and the arrival of the feature film.
Maybe? I think that's what we needed, right? Raw materials? Yeah, we got the raw materials we needed. Let's go get more, because that can't be all this church got. Keep out of the marsh. She waits in the marsh, a cruel and ghastly witch, to disturb her is to awaken a demon, one who will eat your soul. Stay away, stay away. It's a little conceited to think they talk about me, right? I only dropped a few bodies in the swamp.
This is the company that actually provides the film to the audience. Movie theaters and big
theaters anyway, I believe this church has seen its needed for now.
Many of these companies were vertically integrated. That means that the studio owned the production company and the distribution company.
Let's get back to it.
While this made a lot of sense for the owners of the studios to be able to control the process from production to exhibition, it would eventually be ruled a monopoly. At that point, the studios would be forced to break off their distribution and exhibition businesses and open the field to competition. But that came later. In the early days, from about 1907 to 1913, the major film studios had tremendous power. Like me.
Who lit this one on fire already? You can't get in through the roof if it's on fire. There's gonna be a break point somewhere.
The movies were good, that was cool, but it wasn't the goal. Experimentation of any kind was discouraged. Time was money. The standard length of these films was about 10 to 16 minutes, or one reel of film. The creative name they came up with for these films? One reelers. But despite the flattening out of quality, this was a period of astronomical growth for the film industry. In the U.S. and Western
Nope. Drop. Damn, that one's gonna be gone. That one's a no-go. Can't bring you gentlemen anywhere. Alright. Let's take the main church then. Y'all didn't burn it down yet, right?
Edison claimed that he held the patents on several elements in almost all motion picture cameras and projectors. So he believed that he was entitled to a cut of every camera and projector sold, as well as every movie that was made, sold, or screened. And who is the competitor who most got under his skin? His former lab assistant and the man who actually invented the first motion picture camera, William Dixon. After he left Edison, Dixon started his own production company called Biograph, which made films using a camera similar to Edison's kinetograph, but different enough to survive a lawsuit. And sue Edison did, no fewer than 20 times in just a few years. I mean, Edison was suing everybody. This era became known as the patent wars, as gangs of men connected to Edison were known to show up at independent film studios and threaten the filmmakers. Eventually, Edison realized he was wasting time and money in court. Independent producers and distributors were popping up all over the place, and he was left playing this big high.
I say, if you're gonna desync me, then desync me. Don't just kill me by lagging the game to hell.
The country's leading film distributor, and George Eastman, the biggest supplier of film stock. Together, they created the Motion Picture Patents Company, also known as the Trust, an effective monopoly on film production and distribution in the United States. Instead of selling films to distributors and exhibitors, studios would rent them out and retain all legal rights to them. This gave studios control over which films were screened, how often, and in which theaters. Sounds great. No, it doesn't. Plus, because Eastman was a member of the MPPC, independent film companies couldn't get their hands on film stock without permission, which meant that Edison got to decide who could and couldn't make movies. In addition to the stranglehold the Trust put on the industry, it also promoted the assembly line process of film production. As a result, the films themselves, by and large, became unimaginative, stale, and static. But the independents refused to go quietly. They banded together to form groups aimed at resisting Edison and the MPPC. The last and most successful of these was the Motion Picture Distributing and Sales Company. Many of them also decided to move their production facilities as far away from Edison's New Jersey headquarters as possible. Can you guess where they ended up? Not Schenectady. That's right, Hollywood, California, which had the added benefits of year-round
Ah, that was my bad. I thought he was one of mine. I hate those shielded assholes.
Finally, in 1918, the United States Supreme Court broke up the
Alright, one last go at this, eh?
to sever their distribution and exhibition branches, ending Edison's run as American
Check
film's
the
great
chat,
engagement.
and I might
While
run
all
to
this
the
was going
bathroom
on,
right
films
quick before we
themselves
do
were
another
struggling to
raid.
change,
If it's going
and
to keep
no one
being
knew it yet,
finicky with me.
features were on the way. A feature film is a movie with a
Looks like
running time long
everybody's
enough to
still
be considered
steady,
the
so
principal
for the
film in the
moment,
program.
I will
Usually
be
features
right
clock in
back,
between
y'all.
70 and
Just gotta
130
run to the
minutes. When
bathroom.
Edison's posse was in control, the MPAC strictly forbade films longer than one reel, or 10 to 60 minutes. So filmmakers began looking for creative ways around the length restrictions. Some would make two-reelers and then show them in a serial format. The first reel this week, second next week. Sort of like what they did with the last Harry Potter book. Still not over that. Three films in particular paved the way for features by convincing studios that longer films could be commercially successful. The first was The Crusaders, an Italian film from 1911 that was 4 reels long. The second was another 4-reeler, a French film called The Loves of Queen Elizabeth that starred megastar Sarah Bernhardt and made a ton of money in 1912. And finally, Quo Vadis, a 1913 Italian spectacle that boasted huge crowd scenes and big special effects, and ran 9 reels in length. And working steadily through all of this was a director named D.W. Griffith. The son of a Confederate colonel, Griffith was a failed stage actor who happened to be on an Edwin S. Porter set one day and fell in love with film. Within a few months, he was directing 1-reelers at an astonishing rate. He would go on to make more than 450 in less than a decade. What's even more impressive is he was able to integrate an actor's understanding of nuance and character with the film grammar laid down by pioneers like Porter. He made incredible innovations in how a film could be shot and cut. And most importantly, he grounded all of his new techniques in the service of character and story. For example, Griffith is credited with innovating the close-up, cutting to a shot of a character's face at a moment of high drama. This also required and rewarded a more subtle style of acting than film actors often delivered. Can we cut to a close-up, Nick? Drama, right? Are we in a close-up? Why? He also used insert shots, close-ups of objects or a character's hands to draw attention to symbolic props or key narrative moments. He used increasingly extensive flashbacks to add depth to characters and their stories. And he found ingenious ways to use cross-cutting to engage the audience on a deep level, to make us empathize with his characters, to really care about what was happening to them. And it's remarkable how modern his films feel today. That's why I remarked on it. Sure, they're in black and white, and they're short, and they don't star Captain America or Vin Diesel's car or an Oscar-worthy bucket of tears, but the way the shots are framed and arranged hasn't changed all that much since Griffith. And Griffith's biggest achievement was the film Birth of a Nation. This is the film that paved the way for feature-length films to become the gold standard. It was successful enough, both financially and in terms of its massive scope, mixed with its detailed attention to character, emotion, and story, that audiences demanded more like it and would no longer be satisfied with a program of half a dozen one-reels. Birth of a Nation is also a deeply racist film. It offers an extremely sympathetic view of white Southern former slaveholders under Reconstruction. The heroes at the end of the film are the reborn Ku Klux Klan, who ride across the countryside, racing to save poor white Southerners besieged by a mob of murderous former slaves. It's stunningly effective in its use of cross-cutting and screen direction. It's also profoundly disturbing in its message and imagery. This is the double-edged sword of D.W. Griffith, a master of cinema on the one hand, and an apologist for a legacy of hatred, violence, and persecution whose work inspired actual hate groups to reconstitute this country. The film faced protests at the time, particularly in places like Chicago, where people of all ethnic backgrounds objected to its twisted view of history and race relations. And there was a very small but vibrant underground African-American film industry at the time that responded to the racism of Birth of a Nation with films of their own. Most famous was Oscar Michaud's Within Our Gates, released in 1920, the story of a mixed-race school teacher who encounters violence and prejudice as she tries to make a better life for herself. The most successful African-American filmmaker of the time, and the show examined the racial climate in the United States in a way that's as nuanced and searing as Griffith is bigoted and inaccurate. Whatever else it is, Birth of a Nation marked the end of the silent shorts era and challenged film studios to allow filmmakers to make longer, more complex films that told grand stories with unique characters and powerful emotions. Pictures may have moved before Griffith, but now the audience has moved too. Today we talk about how the film industry is divided up into studios, distributors, and exhibitors, and how all those systems used to be controlled by the same people.
No, I'm not going to say good girl.
Started up Hollywood and began creating longer feature films instead of one-reelers. We introduced D.W. Griffith, who was an innovator and master of film language, but
Oh, Lord.
the film cloaked in hate.
Sorry for that delay, y'all. Without further ado. Boy, howdy, it's chilly. Alright, we're going back in.
Crash Course Film History is produced in association with PBS Digital Studios. You can head over to their channel to check out a playlist of their latest amazing shows, like Shanks FX, Indie Alaska, and Inkbook. This episode of Crash Course was filmed in the Dr. Cheryl C. Kinney Crash
Cleared the
Course studio
path.
with the help
Got a
of
few left to hit. So let's try this time. Oh, you know what? No, we're going to go and bust open that church door this time before those guys come in. Because it seems like if we do that, maybe we can get it done without burning alive in the church. And then we'll come down to the shore and call the raid.
Straight up superhero movie or a car chase flick. Not all films fit neatly into Take the Alien series, for instance. You've got some sci-fi thriller movies with action and horror elements thrown in, and not to mention a protagonist who arguably helped pionear the trope of a strong
Blackish
female
purple
character.
or
In this
salvia. I
episode,
don't
we're
know
going
the
to focus
mushrooms
on
of
the
this
second
game
film in the
enough.
series, James Cameron's Aliens, the theatrical cut, not the extended special edition. With its carefully crafted plot points and ensemble cast of characters, this sci-fi action classic rewards a deeper look. On one hand, you can think about Aliens as a war movie and unpack the battle between human marines and vicious aliens through a racial and cultural lens, whether or not that's what Cameron intended. Or you can look at it as an action movie and analyze Ellen Ripley as a hero through a feminist lens, because her character is part of what's really special about this film, both for fans and historically in cinema. I'm Michael Aranda, and this is Crash Course Film Criticism.
I still feel accurate. No bullshit.
The original Alien came out in
Yes,
1979.
it's not up
Directed
here.
by Ridley Scott, it's slow, methodical, and spooky. A horror movie in space. Whereas Aliens is a different kind of film, an intense war movie in space. The first Alien film starts Sigourney Weaver as Alan Ripley, a space trekker whose crew responds to a
It was
distress
worth
call
a
that
try.
brings them to LV-426, a desolate planet with an alien life form
That door gets bashed open.
Through her smarts and tenacity, Ripley survives and blows the alien into space.
Oh, it's that church. That church has a window at the back. Okay, now we know what we do.
And horror genres, Ripley's sort of a combination of an action hero and the final girl movie trope. The term final girl was first used by the film scholar Carol J. Clover to describe a pattern in slasher movies. That typically a virginal woman tends to be the only survivor of a killer's murdering spree, fights them, and lives to tell the story. And James Cameron's Aliens picks up her story later, 57 years later. Ripley is found by a salvage ship and brought back to Gateway Station near Earth. She has to defend herself in a room full of suits for destroying a ship while fighting an alien she can't prove existed, which doesn't go well.
I'm telling you that those things exist.
Thank you, Officer Ripley. That will be all.
Please, you're not listening.
So she gets demoted and is forced to work in a loading dock. Eventually, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, a sinister conglomerate also known as the Company, asks her to be a consultant on a military expedition that's being sent back to LV-426. Now there's a colony there that, surprise, they've lost contact with. Suffering from PTSD, Ripley rejects their request, following the pattern of most characters on a hero's journey. But she eventually agrees to go back, feeling a special duty to protect any survivors and eradicate the aliens, an enemy no one knows better than she does.
Just tell me one thing, Brooke. You're going out there to destroy them, right? Not to study, not to bring back, but to wipe them out. That's the plan. Yeah, my word on it.
These become the two instincts that most define her as a character, the drive to protect and the duty to kill. The basic plot is similar to the original film. The aliens get loose, people run, and most of the Marines die in a lopsided fight early in the film's second act. But after an intense battle with the alien Marines, Ripley survives, along with her found family, a surrogate daughter named Nate, who's the only surviving colonist, a corporal named Hicks, and an android named Bishop. The plot of Aliens came from the brain of James Cameron. He was given the opportunity to write a treatment by 20th Century Fox producers David Giler and Walter Hill on the strength of
My rain's gonna make fires difficult to set, but we're still gonna try.
$18 million and sent to Pinewood Studios in England to make it. The British film crew buckled under Cameron's exhaustive shooting schedule and inexperience. Cameron had guerrilla filmmaking expectations, where 12-hour days were normal to finish projects on time and under budget. The first AD even led a revolt against Cameron that was eventually put down by producer Gail Ann Hurd and effects guru Stan Winston. After the movie was finished, it had massive success, with a worldwide gross
That's depressing. I thought that was the way in.
that original $18 million investment. Plus,
No, it's gotta be the roof then.
piled up from Oscar nominations to wins for visual effects and sound effect editing. Aliens is now considered a seminal classic in sci-fi, horror, and 80s pop culture. Its structure and themes are incredibly effective and stand the test of time. You can look at the original Alien as a haunted house film set on a spaceship. Ripley was the lone survivor after her companions were picked off one by one by a horrific alien monster. The same as any Halloween or Friday the 13th film. But Aliens takes the basic elements in a
not
different
sure how to
direction.
break into
It's more
this
of an
one.
action or war movie where a squad of Marines is pitted against a squad of aliens. Roger Ebert wrote of Aliens in his
Oh, if we can't figure out how to break in, I guess the best thing we can do instead is to burn it down. I can come back later and jump through the giant hole in the roof.
Cameron has said that the Marines in his film were meant to parallel a group of American Army soldiers toward the end of their tour in the Vietnam era. He wanted to make it feel like a gritty, realistic expedition. With a fairly tight budget, he used story elements like the beeping motion tracker to build tension. Like the shark in Jaws, sometimes not seeing the monster is even scarier. It's classic horror storytelling.
Sex. Gee, that's inside the room.
This ring right, 911. Not to mention, he didn't have to spend money he didn't have on huge swarms of alien creatures. Cameron has also said he was trying to show how cockiness and over-reliance on technology can bring about the downfall of large military institutions. And it's true that his Space Marines are basically a tool of the company and don't come off so well.
Oh, great, now he has a flail. Everybody gets flails.
Understand how to fight their low-tech but very stealthy and determined enemy. But whether or not Cameron intended this, painting both military adversaries and other races as savage aliens is not uncommon in media, especially when you look at text through a cultural or racial critical lens. There are lots of examples of narrative fiction where aliens are described as faceless, dangerous enemies which are pitted against our usually white.
Hopefully you found your paradise, young friend.
Alien invasion was a common plot point in sci-fi and horror in the United States. Think of films like The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which really struck a nerve at the time. People were afraid of foreign invaders sneaking into our society, attacking us, and robbing us of our identities and way of life. Other aliens in fiction are much more primitive than humans. Think of A Princess of Mars, which was adapted into the film John Carter, or even James Cameron's later film Avatar. These aliens can be seen as stereotypical portrayals of non-white racial others, especially native peoples, and they usually end up fighting the heroes or depending on them to swoop in and save their troubled society. So, by one interpretation, Cameron's choice to compare his vicious aliens to the Vietnamese army makes this another film that parallels xenophobia in the real world. And even though his main intent was to criticize the company, and he might not have been trying to make a racial commentary, it's definitely worth looking at the way aliens and many other sci-fi and horror stories portray alien enemies. Now, despite Aliens being a gritty war movie, the camaraderie and one-liners from the Marines are part of what makes the film so memorable and entertaining.
Get it on.
Another huge part of that is the setups and payoffs in the screenplay.
I see that I need to install it as a different key command.
Aliens to B, which leads to C. There's always a reason for what's happening on screen. By today's standards, these plot points might be a little bit obvious, but by planting ideas that come back around, Cameron lets us anticipate and appreciate his cohesive vision for the story. For instance, because the compound is basically a big bomb, the Marines dump all their high-tech bullets into Private Frost's bag and are told to only use flamethrowers. But when the aliens attack, Frost is accidentally set on fire and the satchel explodes, killing another Marine and leaving the survivors with very little ammo. Or like when Pharaoh, the pilot, doesn't let her co-pilot explain that something's wrong, then an alien gets on board and kills her.
I said we rolled him into the yard this time.
Which is a big bomb, as we already know, and forces a ticking clock that motivates everyone for the rest of the film. Overall, a lot of Cameron's setups and payoffs work to build up Ellen Ripley's character, especially her humanity and heroism. She's at the heart of the film, and at the heart of her story is love, which is one of Cameron's self-proclaimed favorite themes to explore, and that's really unusual for an action movie. Like, lots of action-packed stories revolve around traditionally masculine ideals. There are beefy cars and gearheads in films like Fast and Furious.
Okay, this is frustrating me. Come on, move.
Anger, vengeance, and power tend to be the center of conflict. Now, in the Alien series, power is still a major theme, but partially because these movies ultimately focus on a female hero.
You say that, but if all four of you weren't friggin' locking down the game, I'd quit. And if my people would do more than just stare at us and loving locks. There we go.
Humans are violated and essentially become pregnant with aliens, which ultimately kill them. Like the facehugger aliens implant babies into human chests, which incubate and burst out in bloody explosions. Plus, I mean, it's a penis. Just look at it. So, throughout the first film, Ripley could be seen as a version of the maiden archetype, a damsel in distress running from a horrible monster. She fits right into the final girl movie trope, where the last woman standing goes from helpless victim to defeating the murderer. By the time Aliens happens, Ripley is a traumatized action hero who is haunted by alien implantation and chest-bursting gore.
Alright, what is it about? Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!
Compels her to return to LV-426 and fight the aliens. But when she discovers Newt on the base, protective.
There was no other attacker. I almost died because my own people suck. You know what? Y'all deal with him. Y'all fuck with him. I'm gonna go try to find a healing item. I'm gonna burn down their stupid.
So, in a way, Ripley transitions from the maiden archetype in Alien to the mother archetype in Aliens. Her character is allowed to be feminine and embrace the idea of motherhood and family.
Shield fucker, you really do care.
This perfectly sets up Ripley and the alien queen in direct conflict.
Thank you. Thank you. Hate those guys. Let's go get the goods.
And it leads us brings us up to one of the ultimate chaos of the film. Ripley getting into the power loader suit to fight off the Queen. This is Cameron planting the seeds for the climax of the movie. Ripley's skill is the key to protecting her newfound family, Newt, and an injured Corporal Hicks. As Ripley yells, "Get away from her, you..." We're all cheering for her and the strength of motherly love. And audiences weren't the only ones cheering. Sigourney Weaver was nominated for the 1987 Oscar for Best Actress for this role, an honor that hadn't been given to an action movie heroine before, and it was for a protagonist motivated by love for her found family. So you've got to give Aliens some credit, whether you appreciate it as a well-constructed sci-fi classic, or for Ellen Ripley's impact on female heroes in decades to come. But it's also a great example of using film criticism to look at genre-transcending stories in multiple ways, which the directors may or may not have intended. Next time, we'll talk about the critically acclaimed Selma, a historical drama film about the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the role that media can play in shaping our idea of what actually happened in the past. Crash Course Film Criticism is produced in association with PBS Digital Studios. You can head over to their channel to check out a playlist of their latest amazing shows like Theons,
I think we are getting places.
This episode of Crash Course was filmed in the Dr. Cheryl C. Kinney Crash Course studio with the help of these nice people and our amazing graphics team.
No opium for y'all.
So far, in our exploration of how the mind grows, we've talked about a lot of different philosophies and models and ways of looking at things. But here's a surprisingly useful tool for understanding developmental psychology: The Breakfast Club. This video, by the way, will contain Breakfast Club spoilers. That classic 80s movie about a band of teenagers stuck in detention one fateful Saturday morning. Do they do Saturday detentions anymore? That was never a thing in my school. That was crazy, the idea that kids would come in on a weekend for detention. They got the hoodlum, the jock, the nerd, the princess, and the so-called basket case. And at first, they're all salty and standoffish with each other because, let's face it, American high schools are sort of a breeding ground for that kind of thing. But as the day progresses, they start to open up and share things and have a little fun by way of a dance montage. And at some point, they each kind of crack, revealing something very important about adolescence in the process, which is the struggle between the need to stand out and the need to belong. All these kids feel tremendous pressure to maintain
They were mopping the place up pretty good on the 4th, 5th, or 10th day.
Security in belonging to a group, even if that group gets picked on by another group. And so they wear the corresponding diamond earrings, combat boots, letterman's jackets, and spectacles, and act how their roles dictate. But the thing is, none of those kids are satisfied with their outward identities. Instead, they're all stuck in the classic teenage struggle, one that German psychoanalyst Erik Erikson, yes, his name is actually Erik Erikson, called the crisis between identity and role confusion. In other words, their newly forming identities were at odds with other
I'd say we did
expectations of
pretty
what
good.
roles they should play.
Again, to one too many times, but we're on hard mode, so.
Growth, learning, and change, and it definitely is. But anyone who's ever seen a John Hughes movie knows that there's way more to growing up.
Y'all want me to do the thing? Nah, let's do the thing.
From adolescence into adulthood and into old age, the drama of your personal psychological development never ceases. Never. So get used to it. Today, most psychologists who are psychological development is a lifelong process, from infant to adolescent, adult to card-carrying senior citizen. People keep right on changing. Just as Piaget gave us a helpful framework for thinking about early development, other scholars have given us ideas about how we develop through the rest of our lives, particularly Erik Erikson. Like many others, Erikson believed our personalities develop in a predetermined order, which he outlined in an 8-stage model. And each stage, from infancy to old age, is defined by its own predominant issue or crisis. If it freaks you out to think that you will always be dealing with a crisis at every stage of your life, you can just call them issues. Since we already talked a lot about early childhood development, I'm going to skip ahead to the teenage meat of it. But you can consult this table to learn about the rest. Erikson defined the adolescent years, or stage 5, as starting in our teens and extending for some as far as our early 20s. And as the Breakfast Club so artfully depicted, its main crisis is the one of identity versus role confusion. Teen years are marked by lots of physical changes in the body and brain.
Well, we left the one ruined, but
but also a real need to
can't be
belong to
greedy
something.
about
This
it.
often angsty time is when teens re-examine their identities, figuring out how to both blend in and how to stand out, often by trying on different roles. Maybe they're experimenting with punk rock or hockey or theater or ancient philosophy. Maybe sophomore year they're prepping, junior year they got green
Let's see what we can find to get into now.
Which in his view started in a person's 20s and ended as late as the early 40s, was marked by another struggle, one between intimacy and isolation. At this stage in life, most of us have begun exploring intimate relationships, whether that's a steady sweetheart or just an active OkCupid profile. A good relationship here can lead to feelings of safety and caring and commitment, while a lack of intimacy can lead to loneliness and isolation and depression. Recently, a number of psychologists have begun to refer to the first few years of this stage as emerging adulthood, and some suggest that it warrants its own classification, distinct from adolescence or full adulthood.
Well, there's going to be something there.
Many people in this stage do feel like they're stuck in a sort of in-between time. They know that they pulled through all that
Next thing we need to do is head down to the Unholy Falls. But I really wanted to get the village upgraded. So let's go to the village first. Fast travel back.
For Erickson, after young adulthood came the middle adulthood of our 40s to 60s. This stage, stage 7, highlights our tendency toward either generativity or stagnation. By now, many people have established jobs or careers or perhaps families of their own. We better understand the bigger picture of life and contribute to society through productive or generative activities like work, involvement, raising kids, paying taxes, all that grown-up stuff. The lack of those things, an overall boredom or absence of purpose.
Need select stream. It should be in the stream. Now I'm confused. I'm going to double back over to YouTube to make sure I'm actually. Okay. I just closed the dock window. If I'd like to show it again, open dock windows. I will, but not right now. First, we're going back into the game. It's good to see y'all and sit out here in the audience for a moment. Back into the main stage. Hopefully it quits glitching. I'm cold. I don't understand why the computer's cold. It doesn't have the nerves to be cold.
So Erickson tackled our progressive psychosocial development, but what exactly happens to our bodies and brains after we hit adulthood and keep racking?
Alright, what should I upgrade first?
Generalize these stages of adulthood because we don't really hit yearly milestones like we do with kids, and adult lifestyles can vary a whole lot. I mean, in a lot of ways, 70-year-old Mick Jagger is still living a younger lifestyle than a lot of 20-somethings I know. But despite all our differences, many of our life courses do have some similarities, physically, cognitively, and socially. First, there are, yes, physical changes. The slow decline of reaction time, muscle tone, and strength, cardiac output, sex hormone production, and sharpness of senses like hearing and sight. For most of us, bifocals are inevitable, and perhaps hearing aids as well. None of this is to say that a jacked 50-year-old couldn't beat a lazy 20-year-old on a 100-meter dash, because of course how well you take care of your body counts for a lot. But still, you can't stop, let alone reverse the process of aging. The good news is our intelligence remains pretty stable.
I'm literally just trying to.
Although some people might feel that their wits get a bit fuzzy with age, research suggests that while one kind of intelligence increases after adolescence, another kind keeps increasing throughout your life.
We can. Let's do it.
Was the first to develop the concepts of fluid and crystallized intelligence, suggesting that intelligence itself is made up of different abilities that work together. Fluid intelligence deals with your ability to solve problems independent of your personal experience and education. It's typically associated with thinking both abstractly, like teasing out the logic of a puzzle rather than remembering how to find the cosine of an angle. So relatively inexperienced teens often show high fluid intelligence. The bummer is, it peaks in adolescence, then typically starts its slow decline in the 30s. So I'm experiencing that now. Crystallized intelligence, on the other hand, is just what it sounds like. Knowledge that's based on facts, solidified by past experiences and prior learning. This type of experiential intelligence gets stronger with age as we continue.
Not to worry, friends. I'll be back soon as I can do something.
Grandmas are so good at crossword puzzles. So fluid and crystallized intelligence are equally important on any given day, and ideally they work together to get the job of thinking done.
Okay, they're all going to be 45 now, aren't they? Because it's like you did one thing.
Of course, there are exceptions. While most people who live in their 90s are still pretty sharp, some will experience a substantial loss of brain cells and suffer serious consequences. Brain tumors, small strokes, or continued alcohol dependence can all progressively damage the brain, increasing the risk of dementia. Dementia isn't a specific disease, but rather a set of symptoms related to impaired thinking, memory loss, confusion, and potential changes in personality that become severe enough to interfere with regular functioning. Alzheimer's disease is a form of progressive, irreversible dementia. First, memory declines, then reasoning, and and then eventually basic physiological functions as vital brain neurons continue to deteriorate. It strikes about 3% of the world's population before age 75, although from there the rate roughly doubles every 5 years. But again, not all dementia is related to Alzheimer's disease, nor is it as extreme, and while the risk of dementia certainly increases in older adults, it's important to remember that it is not part of normal healthy aging. Some memory changes are normal, but most memories should remain intact. In the end, we still have a lot to learn about the aging process. As our lifespans continue to get longer, we might need to treat what we think we know about its effects on human psychology. In some ways, you might say that this is psychology's next frontier. By the time we figure out what that looks like, the cast of The Breakfast Club might just be ready for a reunion. They better make a movie about it. Today, your developing brain learned about Erickson's 8 stages of progressive psychosocial development and their accompanying issues. You also learned about emerging adulthood, the differences between fluid and crystalline intelligence, and some facts about dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Thank you for watching this episode of Crash Course, especially to all of our Subtle subscribers who make this possible. To find out how you can become a supporter, just go to subtle.com/crashcourse. This episode was written by Kathleen Yale, edited by Blake Bastino, and our consultant is Dr. Ranjit Bhagwat. Our director and editor is Nicholas Jenkins. The script supervisor is Michael Miranda, who is also our sound designer, and the graphics team is Podcast A.
All right. Reactions. We'll check in at all the spots, but I don't think it's going to let me upgrade
On
anything
September
else.
16, 1890, a man boarded a train to Dijon, France.
Nope, everything's 45 now.
He was carrying one of the greatest inventions of the age, the world's first.
Oh, we're going to do this. Fine. We'll do this.
Years before it was developed by anyone else. In fact, our man was on his way to New York to complete his patent and unveil the discovery to the world. But when the train pulled into the station in Paris, the man was nowhere to be found. He and his invention had disappeared without a trace. Louis Le Prince was an artist and inventor, a painter, and a photographer who entered the arms race to create the first movie camera in the 1880s. His initial attempt, completed in 1886, was a camera with 16 different lenses arranged in a grid pattern that would each capture a sequential frame of film. The problem was that each lens took its photo from a slightly different angle. When played back, the resulting movie looked odd and disjointed. Like any good scientist or artist, Le Prince went right back to work, revising and refining his technology. In 1887, he created a much simpler camera that used a single lens and took photographs onto small glass plates. But Le Prince wasn't satisfied. In order to both capture and project the images fast enough to achieve the illusion of motion, he needed a material that was strong enough but still flexible, heat-resistant, and transparent. He experimented with systems that used glass plates and paperback film strips, none of which worked very smoothly. Then, in 1889, while visiting his brother in France, he got his hands on a new medium that would soon revolutionize the world of photography. The flexible, emulsion-coated material known as celluloid. Seeing its potential, Le Prince
You forced 2 rhymes, so it's not very good. So I'm going to go with all this.
Huzzah! Le Prince contacted his wife and told her to set up an event back in New York to unveil his invention and initiate new patent proceedings. Then he hopped on a train bound for Paris. Just like that, disappeared. So, what happened to the man who invented the first motion picture
I'm
camera?
just saying, boys, get new material or stuff with this argument. He almost had it that time. Last time it seemed like he dropped it after the, I think I messed up. Good thing about a cloak is it'll be hidden up. It'll be hidden if it's in the hood or the collar, but if it's at the tip or the bottom. Oh, it's like my cat. Don't judge me. You've got a beloved pet, I hope. And if you don't, I might judge you a little. Find somebody to love in your life, folks. Love doesn't have to mean the whole, you know. Aww. Thought it was a raccoon for a second. Okay, let's see what we can get into.
So, during those years, it was hard for the Le Prince family to legally pursue or protect Louis' patents. Though they tried, the Le Prince family joined a lawsuit against Edison soon after his disappearance. Their star witness was Le Prince's son and assistant, Adolf.
Make it circle because I know what it is. Russian bash. Hold R2 to rush continuously while rushing. Make contact with enemy to grab and pick them up. Their enemies you grabbed off ledges or slam them into walls for extra damage. Okay, we're going to turn that one into triangle. Okay. I've already got a lovely thing thought up for that surprise attack on executive long.
Today, many film historians consider him the father of cinematography. other than music later, of course. Not to mention the subject of one of the great unsolved mysteries of film history, as well as the subject of the great animated Crash Course video that you just watched.
I'll try that. So I still need a way to deflect the arrows unless I get the ability to like deflect them with my weapon.
The camera is a collection of parts that can help you tell a visual story. It takes in light through a lens and captures images, creating that illusion of reality we're talking about. You can even use your cell phone camera to make a movie. But filmmakers usually have equipment that gives them a lot more control. So let's look through the eyes of a cinematographer and see how they combine camera technology and the language of film to get that perfect shot.
Hunter, son of Hunter, the baldric. He can be found at the marketplace in the town of Liechtenstein. Wingman, and find an assassin. Oh, okay. Platinus Wigman the Tang. The order identified the Tang as an individual who could exert great influence and instilled him in Grudged and shot regenerative matches in Kintyre, where he gained favor with key players in his region. Assuming their resources, he raised an army fit to drive out the settled Danes and win the land for his associates. Now we'll kill him at the end of the mission we're currently on. Rivaldo, we can't fight right now. Kendall, we can't fight right now. Oh, we could, but we would lose. And Hunter will be the next mission. So I guess if we press forward, we'll go ahead and get the next thing.
It works like the iris of people in your eye, having wider or narrower to let more or less light through the lens. Aperture is measured in f-stops. The lowercase f stands for focal length because it's the ratio of the focal length compared to the diameter of the aperture. An f1.2 lens, for example, can open wider than an f5.6. So when you stop down your aperture, you're making that diameter
there before we hit there. Take any of these
but as you
places.
stop down, you'll notice that the number is actually getting larger. And to control how long the film or sensor inside is exposed to light, you can adjust the camera shutter speed. You can think of a typical shutter as a door in the camera that opens and closes really quick. If you have an aperture that can open wider, like an f1.2 lens, you can let more light in and have a faster shutter speed. Usually your shutter speed is about double your frame rate. So if you're shooting 24 frames per second, there's one little problem with shutters that work like a door. They click, which can get noisy. So on some movie film cameras, you'll have a shutter angle instead of a shutter speed. These shutters are rotary discs that spin to control the amount of light that enters an opening into the camera. A smaller shutter angle works like a faster shutter speed. The image will be exposed more quickly and will look crisper. With a larger shutter angle or a slower shutter speed, the image will be smoother and have more blur. How light gets turned into an image depends on what kind of camera you're using. In a film camera, the light hits the chemical-coated film strip at an opening called the gate, which exposes it so it retains an image. In a digital camera, the light heads to an electronic sensor, which translates the light energy into a digital image. The camera that's filming you right now has what's called a complementary metal oxide semiconductor, or CMOS sensor. Other digital cameras might have a charged coupled device, or a CCD, which uses more power but produces better images than earlier CMOS sensors. Both film and digital sensors also have a property called ISO. The higher the ISO number, the more sensitive they are. The name comes from the International Standards Organization, which created the scale filmmakers use. Generally, the
And I
lower
suppose
the
we can
ISO,
raid these two places. Because the idea they're going to cross the river to get to them is very slim.
In this case, it's
So let's
tempting
hit
to
this
just bump your
spot
ISO way up to
first.
1600 to increase sensitivity to
Let's see what
available
this
light.
spot.
You've got to be careful with that, though. Depending on the camera or film stock, raising the ISO to compensate for low light just brightens everything in the frame and can result in grainy, lower quality footage. So instead of raising your ISO, you might want to add more light to the scene and open up the aperture to allow as much of it in as possible. Now, imagine you put everything we've talked about to use. You've adjusted your lens, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, and captured some beautiful footage. All that footage is stored on what's called the media. In a film camera, the media is the film itself. As long as you don't lose or ruin it, you'll always have what you shot. In a digital camera, the media is a data storage device like tape drives or parts. And you'll have to decide on a codec. Codec is a portmanteau of coder and decoder, because that's what it does. It's a program that can compress what the camera has shot onto your storage device and then decompress that footage when you need to work with it in post-production. Basically, it's like a little packet of digital information. You might recognize a codec like H.264.
But it got us what we needed, I suppose.
Raw means images don't get packaged or processed. You get higher quality footage storage, but you need a bunch of storage because those image files get huge. Now, understanding how a camera works is only part of the filmmaker's job.
I should have
Filmmakers have an
got
entire team
Marco.
of talented
Good.
artists working to create the visual story of the movie. The director of photography or cinematographer is the head of the camera department. They create the shot list with the director to plan how everything in the screenplay will be captured visually. The camera operator is the person who actually controls the camera and frames the shot. Sometimes you need a static shot, so the camera operator uses a tripod. The cool kids
Oh, come on, horse.
Sometimes you want a moving shot, so the operator uses a handheld camera or attaches one to a mechanical
You
part.
done? Have you had your moment? Thank you.
Smoother than handheld, but not as smooth as dolly. Now, the person who manages all this equipment and sets up the camera is the first assistant camera, or first AC. They work under the main camera operator. Sometimes you'll hear this job referred to as focus puller, because the first AC controls the camera lens to focus on the action through the scene. It might sound simple, but for decades, focus pullers couldn't look through the camera lens while doing their job, because the camera operator was looking through the lens. Nowadays, the first AC will usually have a monitor, but they also have to rely on detail marks for rehearsal and a whole lot of skill. The second AC takes all the camera notes for each shot and operates the slate, or clapper, to mark each scene. Soft sticks. They also
That's
haul equipment
adorable.
around from cameras to media. If you're shooting on film, a second AC is the film loader, who changes the camera magazine with rolls of film inside. And if you're shooting digital, the second AC is responsible for getting any storage devices to the digital imaging technician, or DIT, who manages all the media. Now, you might understand all the nuts and bolts of the camera, but it's all for nothing if you're not using these tools to tell a story. Making the audience feel something because of moving pictures, that's what makes movies magic. From a voyeur shot through a window in a horror movie to the subtle push on the love interest in a melodrama, there's a language and an artistry to framing angles and camera movements. Take the rule of thirds, which is a general way to think about composing a frame. The idea is to divide it up into vertical and horizontal thirds, and then stick what you want people to focus on where those lines intersect. What or who dominates a frame can affect how an audience views a scene, and what's in or out of focus can steer our attention even more. For instance, in the film Road Perdition, the cinematographer Conrad Hall combined these storytelling tools really beautifully. In one scene, a character played by Daniel Craig is dominating the frame, but the other two men walking away from him, played by Paul Newman and Tom Hanks, are the ones who focus. So our attention is on Daniel Craig's character because he's front and center in the scene.
I kind of want to, but at the same time, I kind of don't, because I think it'll want. Nah.
Even if you can compose what looks like the perfect
I want to, but I don't want to kill him. Can I do it without killing him? Fuck it, let's find out.
It's like we're leaning in, builds intensity, and the pull is the opposite. The camera physically moves back. This could reveal something that we didn't see before, or help us leave a scene in less direct connection. Pushes and pulls are often achieved by using a dolly to move the camera closer and farther from the action. They have a different look to them than just changing the focal length of the zoom lens. If you want to get really fancy, you can use a tracking
How do we play this game? Because I'm assuming there's a way to do this without just murdering the nice man, because I don't want to murder the nice man. Oh shit. Oh.
But when they're introduced to whatever's going to rock their world and jump up, the camera might move too. On the other end of the spectrum are handheld cameras. Think of those horror movies with shaky cameras. They're harder to see and understand, but feel more chaotic and unstable. The real job of the camera is to capture visuals that let us enter the world of movies.
Now I'm curious. This is a mini game, because there was no intention of me to fight him. Or is he the Sephiroth of this game? Either way, we will come back to him. He's amusing. I will check him out a bit later. Oh, cool. He is actually a marker point all his own. Cool, cool. So, let's go kill us a chunky little coward hiding, shall we? Thank you, horse. I was afraid you were about to make me look a fool again. Okay.
This episode of Crash Course was filmed in the Dr. Cheryl C. Kinney Crash Course studio with the help of these nice people. And our amazing
Pull up
graphics
the
team
map,
is back now.
getting close. There we are.
Hollywood, here we come. The glamour, the celebrity, the scandals. I'm not talking about Jennifer Randall. Are they still famous? Kind of out of touch. But not out of touch with the golden age of silent cinema, when stars rose and fell. Studios perfected the mass production of films, and American movies dominated the global film market. In some ways, it was very different from the Hollywood we know today. Movie studios wielded enormous power. They kept stars and directors under tight control. control, the movies they made were silent, and a ticket would set you back a whopping 10 or 25 cents. On the other hand, a lot of the patterns set during this time still seem awfully familiar today. Studios marketed films on the power of their stars. Genres like gangster movies and romantic comedies took hold and flourished, and audiences craved gossip about the private lives of celebrities. To understand the world as it is, sometimes you have to go back to where it all began. And for Hollywood, that's the silent era. Film was going in a lot of different directions after the First World War. In Germany, filmmakers drew on the Expressionist movement to manipulate their films' mise-en-scène, creating groundbreaking horror films. In Russia, Soviet filmmakers were using cinema to perfect the art of propaganda through revolutionary editing techniques. And in the U.S., the Hollywood studio system was positioning itself to dominate the rest of the world. Within film studios, the entire filmmaking process took place, from conceiving, writing, and shooting the films, to marketing and distribution. The studios had chosen California for its film-friendly sunny weather, its proximity to all kinds of terrain, and its distance from Thomas Edison, who spent much of the 1910s fighting for control of the American film industry from his base in New Jersey. In the early days of the silent era, 3 film studios ruled them all. The famous Players Lasky Corporation, which would eventually become Paramount Pictures, Lowe's Inc., which began as a theater chain, and First National Pictures. Not only did these 3 dominate the marketplace, they exercised near complete control over the creative and personal lives of their stars, writers,
I have thought he said bald, and I'm like, well, Bud, you're great. You're way ahead of her in that. I don't know who the betrayer is in this group, y'all. I suck at this. Maybe the first guy.
Is what I assume. Of course, not many filmmakers could afford to go out on their own like that, so the contract system.
Because the girl's in love with him.
In 1924, the most
And he fully respects her. And the other dude he seems to sort of go with the flow. I don't know. It's also been like 2 days since we talked to him, so I'm kind of.
This is a process that would be repeated throughout the 1920s and 1930s as studios merged or sold or split apart. Probably because it was the Prohibition and they didn't have anything else to do. By the end of the era, most American films were being made at studios whose names you might recognize from the multiplex today. Not only United Artists and MGM, but also Warner Brothers, Fox, Universal, and Columbia Pictures.
I don't just, burn the whole dang city down.
Remarkably stable and efficient. Unlikely, the major studios became very good at churning out large-scale commercial movies with mass appeal. One of the leading innovators in setting up the way studios worked was a man named Thomas H. Ince. Like D.W. Griffith, Ince came to film as a failed actor. He directed his
first we need to get in. There we go.
He was making as many as 152 reelers a year. His biggest impact on film came by applying the lessons of mass production to the actual making of movies.
He's in the church. I see that much. We'll reconvene at the church. Be quick and be quiet. They'll be distracted on your men if your men do their job. You literally said we sneak the fuck in. You literally said you want us to kill the priest, so priest is priority 1.
It was here where the first permanent exterior sets were built, made to resemble far-flung locations like a cowboy saloon, a little Swiss street, or a Japanese village. And as Ince worked to define the roles and streamline the means of production, he was able to triple the output of his studio.
That man is flying. I hope he's on my side.
His impact on film production was thorough, widespread, and lasting.
Because if not, I think he just got the killing blow. Nope, I did. And everything went liney there for a second. Oh, we're in a flower field. That's why. I don't know. Stop. We're getting no bloodshed law. Or no bloodshed. No getting lost in the bloodshed. Get up. We gotta go kill a priest. Come on. Exactly. Quit fucking with the help and let's go kill the priest. Oh, god damn it. That time was my fault. Oh.
After finishing his first film contract, Chaplin struck an extremely lucrative deal with the Chicago-based S&E Studios to make 14 short films. While at S&E, he found ways
that is a ridiculously large weapon, unless you're guarding a wall specifically. Oh, that's a hammer. I don't like hammers.
So popular that by the time his S&E contract was up in 1915, he negotiated an almost unprecedented salary of $10,000 per week with another studio, the Mutual Film Corporation. They also paid him a signing bonus of $150,000, the equivalent of about $3.5 million today. Cha-ching! Is what they would have said at the time. The movies Chaplin made with Mutual brought him international channel started. It marked the first time his focus on the poor verged into social criticism, a place silent comedies rarely, if ever, went. True to his roots, and despite being one of the highest paid people in the world, Chaplin's films often focused on the gentle, accidental heroism of the downtrodden. Time and again, he made the powerful the butt of his jokes and displayed tremendous empathy for the poor and the humble. Then, in 1919, at age 30, he co-founded United Artists in an effort to exercise greater control over his films. I'm 36. I better get moving. What followed was a string of classic movies that ranked not only among Chaplin's best, but among the best film comedies of all time. The Kid, his first feature film, and
And no,
The Gold Rush, City Lights.
sometimes it feels like Ubisoft's trying to kill me. What the hell was I even locked on to that time?
Career would be hampered by legal problems and socialist sympathies, which would land him on the infamous post-war blacklist.
Oh, one day, my hammer wielding friend, I will kill you with a stun attack. Hey, you wanted to kill a priest, right? We're here to kill a priest, not this weird fuzzy fellow. Fine, feel better. Quit throwing rocks and come on, let's go. Don't hurry up, your priest is gonna escape. Crap.
This would be a debate that would come up again and again in American culture about movies or music or video games.
Hi.
Until now.
Oh.
Is the medium causing society's problems or just reflecting?
I mean, I've been doing a lot of rating, so I know I stank, but that didn't even hit him. He just sort of. That's what we needed, a CSI-style jump cut.
Although he was ultimately acquitted after 3 highly publicized trials, the scandal itself all but ended Arbuckle's career and left an opening for a government crackdown on immorality in films and the film business. Rather than wait for Congress to get involved, the major players in the film industry banded together to form the MPPDA, the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America. They hired a retired postmaster general named Will Hayes, a conservative evangelical, to prove they were serious about cleaning up their act. That's exactly what Hayes did in 1930, putting together the Motion Picture Production Code, also known as the Hayes Code, a catalog of things filmmakers could and couldn't show on screen.
What a beautiful wall. Do you think they had some craftsman do that one? Was it a work of, like, patronage, or did they... Did the church just... Did the person feel touched by God to make such a finely manicured wall as that? Oh, ignore all the blood. We didn't get to see any of that. Just fine mortar. The work of a true artist. Letter from Wigman. Father Cuthbert. I want to thank you for the continued support. I must say I am charmed by your pupils. They are endowed with an obedience that I suspected can... Oh, I think he's being gross. Suspect can only be attributed to your wisdom and guidance. Please continue sending them my way. It pleases me to see... Oh. Please continue sending them my way. It pleases me to speak with such spry young men, eager to learn about the... Okay, somebody's trying to murder me. I need to get back into it. Enough with the gay priest. This makes me feel bad for murdering him slightly. Oh shit. This one's mine. You go find another one, Mr. Angry Looming Viking Man. He looked like he took offense to that. Are you just... No! You're just chilling on the front steps while I'm murdering all your friends. What the hell? Where is the loyalty? Where is the love, I would say? Are we being gentle, dear Eivor? We've left more bodies than turnips, or that... I don't even know where that analogy was going. We've been dropping bodies like crazy.
Annoying, right? You might look away from the screen if the visuals are jarring, but pretty much always hear a film, whether it's dialogue that was recorded on set or a sweeping score added in post-production.
Shot in the ass, and I'm to blame, baby. That's why you should find out.
When sound production is most successful, you're not thinking about the quality of the sound at all. You're feeling it.
So, your men just enjoying themselves to take a few pot shots for the cause?
Let's start with the basics. The audience is going to want to hear the characters they're watching, and that all starts with the sound department on set, which is usually a small crew of 2 to 3. Its head is the sound mixer, also known as the production sound mixer, location sound recordist, sound engineer, or just the sound guy. This person and is responsible for recording all the sounds on set. Every space has unique acoustics, so a good sound mixer will try to record as much as possible to make the world of the film feel real. That includes the sounds
Escape
actors make
the
in a
city.
scene being filmed,
Gotcha.
like dialogue.
Those mouthful bunch of cons so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
Slurping their tea. Or foot stomps as they jog down the street. Hey, what happened? You don't look very happy.
Bureaucratic.
What they said.
I don't know what they've got there.
Plus, it includes wild sound, which is any extra lines that are said or noises that are intentionally created without the camera rolling to be added into the movie in post-production. And lastly, there's room tone, the atmospheric sound in a space filled with silent actors, crew, and set dressing. Having room tone helps the sound editors make the world feel authentic and consistent. The sound department's second in command on set is the boom operator, or a boom op for short. This is the person you'll see holding a microphone on a long boom pole out over the actors. Actors will often have small body mics.
Sounds like our day's about to get started. So, if we get the chance later on tonight, we'll be back to pick up from Grand Bridge. And I'll probably do a short uploaded from the laundromat of me just crocheting or something, you know. I should have just about enough pictures of little project snippets over the week to go ahead and do a short while I'm there, outside of just doing the laundry. But alright, y'all. Let me go ahead, collect a few raspberries and the like, and we'll save here in this lovely picturesque field. I think we still had a few snags and lags, but it was certainly much more doable this time than the last time we tried. So, I'll take it. Also, when we come back, first thing I'll try to do is kill that one stupidly high-level knight. Should be fun. Either way, just a moment. Okay. That. Good, so I can just fun. Oh, I've been doing this for 15 hours now. Not too bad, I guess.
Look at them. The sound department not only has to make sure they're recording good sound, but they have to pay close attention to what they don't want to capture. And they can do that with microphone patterns. A microphone pattern is a shape around the mic that picks up sound best.
There we go. Look how easy that was.
Lenses, sound department might have to change mics from scene to scene. First, you have omnidirectional mics, meaning the mic is recording sound coming at it from every direction. There are a lot of situations where
you know, we'll just bounce right over to this.
Conversation where people are sitting and talking around a table, but on a set, you only want to hear the actors on camera and not all the crew in the scenes. So this mic wouldn't be the best choice. Bidirectional mics pick up sound directly.
It's currently 32 degrees outside. That's rather unfortunate, isn't it, friends? No, for me. Oh, boo, come on now. I'm stuck in the game, just stuck in. There we go. Alrighty, y'all. I'm hoping that everything's still going through. It looks like it is. It looks like we have encoded. Oh. It looks like we have an encoding overload at the moment. That's not good. And apparently, there we go. I can't click on my screen. There we go. All ghostly appearing. Shut down the stream behind me. Perfect. Wow, I'm bleached out on this size. Sorry about that. Let's bring it back down just a bit. See, I need my little purple mouse for this bit here. There we go. That's good enough, I suppose. Alright, y'all. I'll be back after the laundromat, ideally with a new fit-in, but it'll be much later today, possibly this afternoon. I hope everybody has a fun day, and I hope nobody's hurting too bad after yesterday's fun-filled festivities and the like. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. If you watched this long, why not hit a like and a subscribe? That would definitely help the channel out a great deal. And I'd definitely appreciate it. It's a completely free way to help out. Yeah, that's about all of it, y'all. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back later on this afternoon. I hope to get a short uploaded because I would like to show off some of the little art projects I've been working on. And I'm trying to work on an avatar to more or less have a little cartoony dude in the corner. That way maybe I can do the game on the big monitor and I can be sitting back here in the audience with y'all, which is what it feels like when I actually have the full studio setup pulled up around me. Either way, that's what we're going to try to go with. I appreciate y'all coming out. Like and subscribe again if you haven't already. I do this every day, at least once a day if I can manage, usually for about an hour to 2 hours at a time. I plan on doing longer streams soon, but you know, it kind of just depends on what time we get and when we can do it. But alright, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Without further ado, bye for now.